Alright, I might be honest, this might be a dumb decision on my part, but I've been sick for the past 2 days, but I still want to art. But basically, I'm working on a thing that I left off on, I think, last time I streamed, which was literally last year. But, I was still... Right now I'm working on, like, value shading. This is an OC that I probably should flesh out more, because I only have a design for. I probably should have made... It probably would have been wise of me to make some tea before this. But who said that I was the queen of good decisions? Now, where was I? Other than dealing with mild allergy problems and struggling to just draw in general. Hey. Oh no, I didn't. I know I have sketches somewhere. Well, wait, no, I literally did import the sketch. But I'm probably not gonna be talking as much, largely because my voice is just not, or at least my throat doesn't feel that great. uh, but I'm probably going to be streaming a lot tomorrow and a little bit today, largely because network over at my grandparents' house is honestly kind of potato. No, yeah, it is potato. And the only reason I know this is because I did try streaming, I think it was Genshin over there once, and I just said, okay, the bitrate is horrible, I genuinely cannot do this, it's time to end stream. But, as is a theming tradition in my family, myself and my dad managed to get sick on New Year's. My dad, he always gets sick. Apparently I'm now joining him in that. And again, last time I got sick, I also had to fly back to college a week late because my throat decided, life decided it was time to get COVID again. It was not fun. I was not happy. But the good news is, at least this time, I do know I can still sing. It just does not feel as great on the throat, and I'm probably just making a bunch of bad decisions by choosing to do something that requires me to yap for who knows how long. Gosh dang it. Oh wait, no, that's just spillover I can fix. With apparently the wrong brush selected. But the reason why that was like that was because I was well, kinda not really, it's a slightly different thing I wanted to modify. But what I was doing earlier was basically messing around with, what's it called? I was sketching earlier. I have a weird way of doing sketches on occasion where, well, I guess it's not occasion, it's how I literally do it if I'm just sketching in my overtly large sketchbook, which I probably need to start a new one because it's literally a new year and that usually means I start a new one unless I run out of pages in it. And I still probably have a backlog of other videos I need to edit. Now, where is the other thing I wanted to do? No, wait, I probably should. And then dereference that, fudge. Oh, wait, I need these back on, okay, not that bright. Okay, that's the same color. And that's a dangerous layer to be messing with. Wait, oh, that's the same color. Maybe I can... Wait, this is 70, so this is 60. Maybe I can drop that there, but then that means... You know what? This is why I like working with values. It gives me an idea of whether or not things will still be readable or questionable if I do choose to go with a certain idea. Maybe I could... Because I don't want to take it too drastically different of a color from at least the main coat. Or the main whatever the heck it was called. I mean, I guess stepping down a color layer to match the little... I forget the anatomy of skirts. I haven't worn one in I don't know how long. I have no clue how to women's fashion. Literally got in an argument with my grandmother over her birthday. I just mentioned offhand that my cousin was talking about like clicks, and I genuinely do not understand how they function. Because I went to an all-girls... I will say this. I went to an all-girls high school. I somehow ended up never joining the clique. I was friends with pretty much everyone. It didn't matter if they were popular or absolute nerds. I just associated with everyone and no one gave a damn. Well, actually, yeah, no one cared that I just floated around being friends with different people. And as I've jokingly said to my cousin, I have, actually no, not just my cousin, a few friends on various Discord servers. I have no concept of what it means to be a woman. A traditional woman, to be specific. But yeah, the main argument, at least, was that my grandmother was complaining that I literally wear the same dress everywhere. Technically, I don't. I do have 2 other dresses that I do wear. Granted, those are for very specific occasions. That occasion being that my preferred dress is in the laundry machine, or I am singing on a stage that requires concert black. In which case, I also have a specific pair of boots that I always wear. I'm not kidding when I say this. I literally got a pair of black boots just so I could wear them on stage, even though they are uncomfortable to exist in. But hey, if you're dedicated to wearing boots, you will find some way to wear them. And these boots that I wear literally everywhere, I wore them every day this past semester. I think the only day I didn't, or at least the only time I didn't, was when I was either wandering around my dorm barefoot, but because I couldn't be bothered to even put shoes on, or I was going outside to the dumps and put on a pair of Crocs because I didn't want to put on socks, but I also didn't want to walk around a place that might contain glass shards barefoot, because that's just... Because I may lack common sense, but I'm not that lacking in common sense. And someone has to take out the trash eventually. What I do know is that I still have a laminator, that's what it's called. I still have a laminator that I got for the sole purpose of laminating a bunch of cards for a card game that I think exactly one person has played. Although I probably should eventually port it over to, tabletop games, and I'm actually in a few VTube and other Discord servers. I might see if I can convince anyone to play my dumb card game once I finally figure out how to import it. Well, it's not really a card game, it's kind of like... Okay, yeah, it is technically a card game. It was technically, I think, the first game that I ever fully finished. And it was also loosely inspired off of one particular event game mode in Honkai Impact 3rd. Although I don't think you'd be able to tell by the end of that entire process. Oh, that is the wrong color. Easily fixed. And then I'm gonna drop this down. There we go. But, oh, and thank you for the follow, Soloton. Okay, I guess the audio for that isn't working, but, I'm trying. But basically, the way that game kind of works is that, it's sort of like a weird cross between, like, Tetris. Well, yeah, Tetris is probably the best analogy, except, you don't have to let things float down. You get to place them. It's sort of like a weird, space management combined with combat. I think that's... what... I probably should mess around with Tabletop Simulator just to see if I could even import it. I don't know all the little details. What I do know is that I'm literally working out of a Linux machine because, quite frankly, trying to navigate Windows has frustrated me to the point where the only reason why I even bothered trying to figure out how to fix OBS on there was literally so I could play Roblox again. And I've still not played Roblox in years. Until I can get a new graphics card, I've just been using Discord, and the fact that I technically have an alternate account to stream from my I do know of a few. There's like AP PowerSoft, I think. I have tried messing around with a few other Linux alternatives, although I've only gotten those to work with audio. But I am currently planning on getting a new graphics card, because my old one decided to... It's either it couldn't work with Linux or something else happened. That I don't have it on hand, but But there are two ways that I do recommend doing it. If you're probably circumventing some weird rules like I probably am, I'm just using the fact that you can screen share on Discord over Discord calls to do this. That was really a little bit more technically frustrating to set up. But for an easier method, I really do recommend going with like a graphics card, a video capture card. I forget what they're called. It's like a capture card or video graphics card. I think it's a capture card. I didn't have the money at the time to get one, but with Christmas money, I probably can afford to get one that will not suck, and I will probably also be double checking that it does work with Linux and Windows, because quite frankly, most of the time, Windows frustrates me to ridiculous ends more than Linux does. Anyways, I'm moving on to colors now. Let's see, where's color? Now, I do have an idea of kind of like what colors I do want in this, and I'm thinking like blues and yellows. Anyway, probably push that all the way up. Wait, do I have the old color? Oh yeah, I do have two slightly different color palettes that I did use. I actually did try... Oh, thanks. But yeah, I did try, actually right now, just for charging purposes, I do have my iPad plugged into my laptop just so I can charge it. Unfortunately, you do need, like, some kind of, HDMI to, what's it called? USB to HDMI, depending on, USB-C or USB in general to HDMI in order to stream it to it. Oh yeah, thanks. I'm glad you like it too. If only eye tracking was better on it. I've tried turning on as many lights as I could. As you can see, sometimes it still bugs out. But yeah, I'll be honest, I wouldn't call this my best so far. The posing genuinely feels a little awkward, but everything else that is visible on screen was made by me. It also took me a while to figure out how to customize my alerts, but those I also made. I want a nice yellow to pair with this. Because I did at one point try putting green into it and I just did not like it. Because maybe like a paler yellow-ish. That's more accent-y. And then, thinking brown. Like a little split complementary. And that is the tiniest accent, I think. But, okay, I think that works as a color palette. So the first and easiest thing to do would be to just spam this everywhere. And by spam it everywhere, I mean semi-tastefully set this to reference and then just fill in everything before... You know what I should do? Bring that back so I can actually tell what's going on. There's so much mess going. Oh, I only did it there! I forgot to add that. Let me go in and fix that. I love when I forget to draw something. It makes things more nightmarish. Also set that to be the correct size. I will be going in and correcting all those other little things. It's just that I'm just trying to go about getting colors on a page as quickly as possible. Here's automatic. Ah, gosh. Too much selection. Chlorophyll. Okay, that is a lot more ice than I was expecting it to be. But hey, that's why I have other colors. Ooh, actually, now that I think about it, slight weight. You have differentiating. Thing between things. There, now she looks like a Gacha Life OC. I actually did originally build a lot of my first characters through Gacha Life and other similar things when I was really unconfident in my ability to draw things. I mean, sometimes I feel a lot better, sometimes I feel a lot worse about it. Oh, that is gross. Okay. I'll be honest, I might end up picking a slightly different yellow because I'm not liking it as much as I thought I would. Ah, fudge. Wrong placement. Let's try switching this. Just switching which is the accent into the accent and which is other, what's it called? I mean, I'm not minding the brown as much. It's really just the yellow I am not liking. Make it a little warmer and a bit more saturated. How does that look? Okay, maybe not as saturated. Nah, I'm still not liking that. Wait, what if I flip these colors around? No, that still feels weird. Oh no, not doing that. Okay, yeah, I think I kind of like that one a little better. Ah. I mean, I think that looks kind of okay. Not completely sure. Hmm. Okay, and then from this, I need to create a color palette. No, that is way too much, way too quickly. Alright, and then the darkest. You know what? I'm gonna put the blue back on those because I think it looked a little better. A little less weird. Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Oh. Okay, and the last color is yellow. Not like that! Or that. Okay, so I'm gonna have to check and see if that color is correct, because I don't think I ever recolored it. Okay, that is the same color as that, apparently. What color? I don't know. Okay, and that one is useless since I redrew a part of it. No, wait. I added. Why do I keep adding layers? I don't need to add more layers. Wait a second, did I leave reference on? Yes, I did. Fudge. Allergies. Why? Why must you torment me? Hmm. I promise I'm fine, I'm just... All I know is that later tonight I'm going to be frying a bunch of chicken. Okay, yeah, I did. Yeah. Hmm. Oh yeah, in other news, I've probably gone sidetracked playing Stardew for the past who knows how many days, and I still barely understand what I'm doing, but I've lived to see the fall. I've made 60,000 gold, or whatever the currency was that I completely forgot. I think it's gold. I don't know if I'm winning, but I've completed exactly one bundle after failing to get down into the cave who knows how many times. Wait a sec. I hate line art so much. I'm just now realizing that the only reason why I've not vacuumed my dorm in who knows how long is because my old vacuum cleaner broke and I just did not care to get a new one. I mean, it was also like a really cheap stick vac that I got for like $5 off a friend who had graduated a previous year. I think the other reason why I didn't keep it was because I just did not have anywhere to store it. Like, the past 2 years, I had a roommate. My freshman year, though, I didn't have a roommate. I only had a suite mate in the form of my RA. This semester, I think I'm getting a roommate. I have yet to meet her. I hope she's okay with me doing weird things on the internet for who knows what reason. I also hope that this stops because I'm currently dealing with, I think, allergies. Although it could be literally something else. Regardless, I am not happy about it, and I'm just now realizing I also forgot to grab this color. Is it pure white? Yeah, it is. Slightly off-white. I need to... Lunch nuggets. Let's see. Oh wait, that's why that didn't do anything. Okay, that is no longer needed, so I'm just gonna put this all the way up here for me to deal with later when I make the color palette. When I make the color palette, I mean just save it for future reference so I can be incredibly lazy about making... So I can Well, I mean, I guess it's not really lazy, it's just save time. If I ever choose to come back to this character in particular. And make sure that this time I draw lines on the correct layer. Nah, fudge. Actually, the eyes I like to do on their own separate layer just for, because I actually end up doing a lot of the rendering, I guess it would be manually instead of just with everything else. Or at least, I mean, I'm not doing any, I don't think I'm going to be doing any gradients on this, so it would probably be fine to do it how I would normally do a piece where I might mess around with the colors later, but this I literally just kind of already pulled together the palette for. Where on earth did this layer come from? Oh, I think it's the hair. But if anyone's curious why I'm not talking as much, I am kind of a little sick. By New Year's tradition, my dad got sick, and because it was in close proximity, I probably caught whatever he caught. According to him, it's a common cold. It's just that his immune system is probably D tier. So, guess who's also had to make him oatmeal and soup plenty of times? I mean, it's also not really that bad. I do enjoy cooking a lot. If I had the things I needed for it, I probably actually would consider doing a cooking stream. It's just that would probably be a lot to coordinate, and the most that I'd probably end up doing would either be making a bunch of tortillas or frying who knows how many chips. Because I actually do really enjoy making chips. Is that connecting? Okay, no, that's not connecting everything. Link these. Where's it spilling? Where's the spill? Not there, not there. Is this not... Okay, that is touching. I love it when my time-saving measures don't save me any time. Okay, there's a leak somewhere. I don't know where it is, but that looks good, so I'm just going to live with it. Of course, because of how I drew the eye on its own separate layer, I can probably just toss in the eye white. Just need to, well, I love my existence with glasses. I'm legally required to wear them if I want to do any kind of driving. But such is life. There, that's most of the face done. Wait, what color did I pick for the... not trying to select it, I'm trying to turn it off. There we go. There, now that's the face done. I didn't even get the right color for the hair. Okay, yes I did. I guess I'm just forgetting things. Just color checking. Now, if I was making a VTuber model out of this would not be the way I would do it, because that requires a lot more line art and a lot more separation. But actually, believe it or not, I did make this entire model, what I'm currently using. I made all of that in Procreate. I only imported it to Krita on my laptop to fix the weird issue where, Procreate Photoshop, when Procreate exports something as a Photoshop document, a PSD file, it creates an invisible border around the entire thing, which really interferes with, what's called, with, Live2D's ability to auto-generate meshes. Although some meshes I still, like, the first VTuber model I made, which was one I essentially slapped together in an hour, which was essentially just the front things like I currently have on my character, a head with all the basic eye things, which included eyebrows, a top lash, a side lash, and a bottom lash. And then basically I basically just duplicated the mouth line for that because I completely forgot to draw and open and enclose, so it still worked. And then a neck and the top half of the torso. When I was streaming me actually learning how to rig this entire thing, I did use that first rig model. I might make it a redeemable thing just to be a little silly. Hey, half the fun is, goofing around and learning. At least that's my opinion on art. And I'm also just now realizing I may have gone the wrong direction I intended to with this. Oh, that hand looks a lot more horrific than I remember it looking. What I do know is that I was probably very inconsistent in naming a lot of things. Also, I technically rigged this entire model with the free version of Live Duty because I just refused to activate the 42-day trial because I probably will activate the 42-day trial before I graduate and maybe even get the student discount rate while I can still get it before I graduate. But, since I do intend on eventually making visual novels, I probably will be spending a lot more time messing around with Live 2D, including just learning how to animate with it. Like, probably in the near future, I might try making, like, a really basic little animated thing just to learn Live 2D animation. I'll probably end up making that a PNG tuber GIF version of at least something like this model. I do know I have a cel-shaded PNG tuber model that I originally did make for the purposes of just what's it called? Art streams, because I didn't know that there is a possibility that face tracking would not be that great because I'd be looking down quite often, although I think the main reason why I'm not using that one is because I was not as big of a fan on how I drew the ears for it. Then again, like, rigging the ears for this was also the first time I ever did ear rigging, even though I did follow, I think it was Marley Ufe's VTuber tutorial. All I know is that it was the same VTuber who also makes almost all of her Live 2D models on Procreate. I'm not kidding, she actually does make all her models on Procreate, and they look phenomenal. Unfortunately, I don't have the budget to commission anyone, nor do I trust anyone to get my skin color correct. So, call it paranoia, but I'm making as many assets as I can on my own, and that includes emojis, especially now that I finally found a way that I find acceptable for myself to draw chibis. I will draw my own emotes even if they are terrible. Because half of learning art is learning to deal with the fact that sometimes you suck. And sometimes you do find a few diamonds in your unhinged drawings at 3 a.m. and sometimes they're just really dumb jokes that your friends came up with and you decided to draw and force them to deal with the fact that their joke was, frankly horrific. Like, one that I always end up circling back to is one that was created by a friend of mine who has since graduated. I'll just call him Philip. But basically, what Philip created was, I don't know what to call it, but an incredibly cursed little character that he called Jerkin HOFFMEN. I'm going to leave it to everyone out there to put together what its actual name is. What I can say is the reason why that joke will forever live in infamy is because one of my favorite computer science teachers has made me explain that joke to an entire class before. But basically, around 2 years ago, it's early spring semester. It's still freezing outside. I'm still a sophomore in college. I'm taking a computer science class because, unlike a lot of my friends, I don't mind being up at 7:50 a.m. And for some ungodly reason, almost all of our computer classes are at 7:50 in the morning. I don't know where he came up with the idea of that character. What I do know is that the image, the cursed little drawing of it on the whiteboard had survived from 7:50 in the morning to one of the few early afternoon classes we had. This one started at around 2 o'clock. It'd been there all day, except now it had changed a little. It had grown a body, looked like it was ready to basically fight God. Didn't have anime on side, but still ready to fight God. And the caption had upgraded from all the other cursed memes that we had put on there, including an alternative description to AIDS, and I forget what else. I probably have the picture somewhere in my photo gallery, and it's probably something just as, if not more cursed than that thing. I can't remember what it was called. All I know is that it was beyond... All I know is that, the teacher we had that morning point blank said to all of us, "I'm not gonna read that because I don't trust anything y'all write on these whiteboards at 7 in the morning." And then I'm pretty sure at least one of us had done, like, at most 2 hours of sleep the night before. Or at least that's what I'm convinced Philip had done when he created that thing. But, basically, it's 2 o'clock, many of us have just finished lunch, it's still there. Why? I don't know. Probably because the only other teacher in that room who goes in that room probably read it, had a laugh, and then refused to acknowledge it. But, the last teacher is why this thing will now forever live in infamy in my memory, and why it also got a special part in the first, well, I guess it was technically the second game I ever did finish. Actually, no, it was the first. I don't have the code for it anymore. Or it died with my old computer, and I might go back and remake it, especially since I do know Android Studio does in fact work on, what's it called? Linux. Sorry, Brain.exe crashed for like 3 minutes. But basically, what I will say about this teacher is that his first language is not English. His first language, I'm pretty sure, was Chinese. He's since left the school, but he walks in the classroom, stares at the board for a few seconds, and then reads, "You can't beat," and then the incredibly cursed name of the character. Now, here's the worst part. This teacher's the last guy you'd expect to to say something that basically is the epitome of college humor. He reads it. There's silence for a grand total of 3 seconds, and then everyone turns into hyenas. I will shamelessly say that I was one of the hyenas. Fudge. He leaves the room. Well, actually no, he's not the first person out the room. After everyone turns to hyenas... I know, he was the first person out the room. He stands there confused while while all of us are just laughing our heads off, because I don't think he understood the pun, nor was he completely aware of what he had actually said, probably because, once again, not a native English speaker. So, he leaves the room. I don't know where he ended up going. All I know is that he did come back, I think, I want to say 5 or 10 minutes later, he comes back, teaches the class as normal, but, the other, Philip, I don't think he returned to class that day. I don't know if it was because he was too busy laughing his head off, or if he just could not face, what he had done. All I know is that, in talking to, my other teacher, the teacher who outright refused to read because he knows not to trust college students at 7 in the morning, he was the one who had to explain what exactly our dear teacher had actually read and said. And now I will never be able to escape that cursed little thing, because, well, actually no, I might be able to escape it because I graduate this semester. But since I am going to be taking one of his classes, I might have to explain it one last time. But, basically, this first little cutesy looking piece of toilet paper is why I probably am on the fence about whether or not I actually try recreating an Android mobile app that I created for one class. Then the other reason why I'm not really looking forward to the idea of possibly attempting to recreate an Android project on mobile, or recreating an Android mobile app, is because I do not have an Android. I might be able to harass my aunt into letting me borrow her Android phone just so I can see how it runs on an actual Android. What I will say though is that half the things broke. It crashed when you bought. There were 3 things that happened. One of them literally crashed every time you ran. The store was buggy. I could never figure out how to fix it. What I do know is that it did crash whenever you did buy one thing in particular. I forget what it was. I was never able to fix that. But what I do know now, if you're going to be presenting any kind of technology, be it a app, a web app, a mobile app, or some other dumb piece of software, like even a video game, have a recording of it actually functioning. So that at the very least you'll have an idea of what it should look like should the worst happen and it decides to spit out blatantly false information during the live tech demo. Or your computer dies. Or some other software file got corrupted and you don't have time to pull the working file from GitHub. Actually, no. In general, you should just use GitHub. When I was developing that app, I should probably mention that I ended up recoding the entire thing at least 3 times, and literally ended up having to recode it like 24 hours before I was due to present. I got no sleep. Actually, no, not 24 hours. I spent 3 days with basically no sleep recoding an entire app. I was not a happy camper. Good news is I got an A in that class, and I don't think, unless that teacher is watching, I don't think he ever knew that I spent 3 days recoding an entire app because I tried implementing a database and it exploded. But, basically, I learned my lesson. I finally learned how to use GitHub, command line GitHub specifically, which is still its own nightmare. And yeah, now I'm trying to make my own portfolio site. So I don't have to keep using stuff like Linktree or Cardco. Who knows, I might actually be able to get my my dumb little game that I made for my indie game dev class that also run on it. What I do know is that on my itch page, though, I do have one other game up. I'm probably never going to finish that one, largely because the plot kept on getting more and more incoherent, but then again, the entire point of that game was just, here's a game engine, see what you can do with it, have fun. I technically do have another game buried somewhere on my GitHub page. I'm never posting that one because technically I would have to import a different font just to use it. That because I think the font that comes preloaded in Adventure Game Studio is not something you're technically falls under copyright protections. I forget what exactly. All I know is that you do technically have to create a custom app. Or not. I've actually tried making my own font before. It's actually how I made it's how I made some of my seamless brushes and watermark stuff. I'm sorry, I can't really yap as much because my throat still feels terrible, even though I am drinking water. I still can't believe that I've been working on this thing since last year. Okay, I'm gonna stop with since last year jokes, because I'll be honest, they kind of get old real quick. But, tomorrow there's a high probability that I end up just trying to speedrun as much of the new Archon quest in Outland as possible, because, quite frankly, tomorrow evening I will be heading to my grandparents' house, and I know I cannot stream there because their Wi-Fi is potato. I mean, technically I have accidentally crashed the Wi-Fi in my parents' house, I think once, although right now it's not as bad because I'm the only person here. So I can technically, I guess, get away with streaming here when I'm by myself. I don't know. It was actually pretty... Oh, thanks for the follow, Tom. But what's going on here is that I'm working on finishing the concept art for NOC that I've had in my head. Well, not really in my head. I did originally create her using stuff like Pikachu, although I never had like a really final design, and if I pull up the original designs I had, they were quite frankly horrific because I was too busy just trying to shove characters into things that I thought would look cool. If anything, I probably need to I'm probably going to end up going through a third redesign of this particular character because I'll be honest, the first time I ever roleplayed with this particular character, her personality was not that fleshed out because she was literally a child. Her entire existence was child that one of my first OCs was just overly attached to. But she essentially was filling the role of one of the many NPCs that were being used to flesh out a world that I did technically have a hand in creating. And I technically only became a moderator in that because the owner of the server was just kind of, well, I wouldn't say they were tech illiterate, but they were kind of illiterate on Discord hierarchy. In fact, I've actually gone to a few mod gigs simply because a few people had no idea how to set up role permissions and hierarchy. Thankfully, I've not had to take up that position again. My first time ever doing that was absolutely horrific, and that was because I'm pretty sure the owner was 13 years old. Did I mention that the owner also let not safe for work stuff go? A lot. But I will say that server did implode. Rather violently. The worst part was I was already having a not great day IRL. But hey, that's just life. Actually, speaking of roleplay, I've been meaning to probably try dragging together a bunch of friends, either IRL or abducting a bunch of random VTubers into playing this game called 10 Candles. I've only gone to play it like a few times, otherwise I've had to live through vicariously by watching other people play. I did want to have like a collab where I did murder a bunch of people because the way 10 Candles works is that literally by the end everyone is dead. I mean, it is a horror role-playing game, so I don't know what else anyone could expect from that. But it was a game I did have fun playing when I did get the opportunity to play. Like I was talking about earlier, I've been calling him Philip. He's the one who introduced me to it. But basically, everything technically is created immediately at the start of the game. The only thing you really have to figure out ahead of time is when is everyone involved going to be meeting up. Kinda requires at least, I want to say, 3 people to play, 1 person to play the role of DM, and at least 2 other players to basically exist in the world. Now, you can have a bunch more people, the DM can create people, but, the first game I ever played, well, I didn't exactly get to play, because, I think the DM was working with, like, a maximum of, I think 5 people, and he already had his 5 people, but he did invite me to tag along, especially since I was friends with everyone who was playing. thing that night. So, here's a basic rundown of how 10 Candles does work. You have... Everyone gets a pool of 10 dice. And this pool of dice will be continuously shrinking over the course of the game. And this is also where the 10 Candles comes in. As things go on, candles will go out, and you will permanently lose dice. Anyways, here's how character creation works. Everyone has note cards. You will get 4 note cards. First thing that happens, you'll pass the card one direction, and everyone will get to assign your character a virtue. You hand another card the other direction, and that person will get to decide what your character's vice is. And then the last thing, well, second to last thing in character creation that happens is you realize that you've drawn more than you should. Now, the actual thing that happens next in your character's creation is the DM gets to join, well, no. You get to write what your character aspires to. Something that would technically be achievable in a world that's basically about to collapse in on itself. I think the DM by that point in time will have at least a rough idea of the premise. Now, the fun part. The DM also, in the last step of character creation, the DM gets to join the fun. They get to assign one character. They get to assign what is basically one horrifying thing that your character has done when they are desperate and have absolutely nothing left to lose. And, however, the character who gets the DM's card gets to assign some particular trait about them. It cannot be anything that would hinder them. It cannot be something that will disable it. For example, you can't say that they're weak to rain. You can't say that they are scared of you. You can't say something like they dislike the rain. You can say something like they are heavily attracted to noise. You can say anything like that. But basically that'll just add a little bit more flavor as to what is going on in that entire situation. The only people who will know what is going on in that situation, who knows anything about the bring cards, that's what this last stage is called, the bring cards, are the person who created your bring card and yourself. Now I'm going to quickly explain what each of these cards do. If the situation allow, we'll probably just explain a bunch of little things. You need to roll a 5 or you need to roll, I forget if it's a 5 or a 6 or just a 6. But basically, you need to roll more, you need to roll at least one success for something to happen if it is a challenge. You can re-roll, and here's where the fun comes in. If you roll any ones, you lose access to those dice. I wasn't kidding when I said as the game goes on, you lose more and more dice. You roll a 1, that dice is gone. Now, here's the fun part. In character creation, you can stack your cards in any order you want. Vice bring hope, hope bring vice, virtue in any order you want. You you can run, well, actually, no. The bring card must always go on the bottom. But you can put your Virtue, Hope, and Vice in any order you want. But that is the order you have to play them in. Now, what these things will do is, if it applies in the situation, and you have to describe how exactly your Virtue, Vice, Hope, etc. applies in that situation, you can reroll any ones that you previously rolled. And in order, however, doing so means that you will burn away that card. I wasn't kidding when I said this game can get pretty dang dark. But basically, what happens when you burn away that card is that basically it means that you are using a part of yourself to try and push beyond what the narrative would have basically said happened. However, here's the worst part. If you fail to roll a single success, the scene will end. And you will permanently lose 1 dice because a candle will go out at the end of every scene. For the record, this game is best played with actual candles. Although, if I do manage to get a group to play, don't tell anyone, but I will be setting timers to randomly go out for like 30 minutes, so just to simulate having candles randomly go out. But the game I did watch, because candles weren't exactly allowed on school property, they were like little electric tea candles, so they did the job pretty effectively. But basically, the game ends when there are no candles left. And you want to know the fun part? After the first die is lost, that die doesn't actually disappear. It belongs to the DM. Now here's the fun part of all of this. Even if you do get a success, the DM can also roll successes. If they match or beat the amount of successes that the players get, they get narrative control. The action will succeed, but you do not get to control what happens as a consequence of that success. So, basically, as more candles go out, the narrator gets more and more control over what happens. And the thing is, technically there is still some limits. You can only really kill a character if dire consequences are in place, and that is just a character who did something unimaginably dumb and put themselves in an incredibly dangerous situation. Like, given that the world is ending, that could literally become almost anything really quickly. But, I've only been, in the game that I played, I've only been in one situation where someone got into dire consequences, but that was because earlier he said that he kind of needed to go pretty soon, so the best way to do that was just get into dire consequences and then fail a save. Now, in these future scenes, technically the dice pool resets up to the amount of candles that happen. So basically, if you are at 8 candles, 1 candle goes out, you now have the dice pool, but you've also lost, I want to say, 6 dice to ones. You get those 6 dice back, but you can only have a maximum of 7 in your dice pool, and the DM gets 3 dice. So basically, once you get to the point where... Now, here's what happens when candles go out. The scene ends when either you fail to roll a single success, or when a candle goes out through any means. Anything like breathing on a candle, accidentally spilling water on a candle, the candle just naturally going out. That is a scene-ending situation. Now, what happens is, there is one universal truth, that the world is dark. And then after that, the player who failed gets to go first, and announce one truth. You can have as many truths as there are candles left. However, here's the fun part. A candle can go out in the middle of truths being said. It just means that you'll have another round of truths. But that also means you'll still be losing dice. And the thing is, these truths can also technically undo the failure. However, these truths also cannot bring anyone back to life. Now, depending on the rules that you're playing with, dead players have to leave the room. That was actually the case with the game I got to watch, although I never had to leave because I wasn't participating. I got to see literally everyone die. But as you announce these truths, they set the stage for the next scene, and the next scene is basically immediately following the change of consequences for that. Like, in the game that I got to observe, that scene happened with a failure to pass a strength check or something to break open a door. They changed it so that, yes, they were able to break open the door, but the DM also added more consequences with their truth, or with his truth. Well, I say more consequences, it's really more so just that, there wasn't as much food as they thought there would be. Put these together. But I really do want to play a game with people like that. What I can say is that... Oh wait. I need to change the color. All I can say is that the end goal is to have fun. Embrace life before the end comes. And whether you die a villain or a hero, doesn't matter, everyone will die. Then again, I guess it's just one of the many weird things about me, which is that I don't mind grimdark stuff as much as other people probably would. Because some of the weirder experience I've had is that I've not exactly ever been particularly scared of the whole concept of death. I don't know how else to put it. Like, I'm in what's called the honors program at my school, one of the classes I took was the Art of Melancholy. Whenever people hear that, they tend to think of something more, I guess, depressing. Me, I didn't really see it that way. I thought it was a really bittersweet thing. But, I'll be honest, I probably wouldn't have been able to go into it that deeply if I hadn't already faced the death of a really close loved one. What I will say is... how should I put this? The death of this particular loved one was my grandfather, and when he was alive, he said... He kept on... Towards the end of his life, he kept on repeating the same thing to me. Sarah... Not my real name, by the way, but... Sarah... When I'm dead... Don't cry because I'm gone. Be happy because... Don't be sad because I'm gone. Be happy that you knew me. Because you knew me. And... I'll be honest, for the longest time, I was just like... Come on, Grandpa. I want you to be around to at least see me graduate, and... Well, he... I think... No. I think... No. I think he only got to see one of his grandkids graduate. He only got to see my older half-sister graduate. But... I think after his death, I finally understood what he meant by all of that. I guess I have been a little sad and unhappy about it, but also moved on, probably gone out a lot more and whatnot because of that. Life moves on. I don't know everything that went on back then. Probably still don't. But I have a greater appreciation for him always saying that. And I guess I finally understood what he always meant by that. I keep on forgetting what time it is because I forgot that my laptop never, or at least my Linux boot never automatically changes time zone, so I have to... Probably should have figured out how to fix that, but I was just too lazy to. Anyways, on to slightly more fun things. Such as realizing I completely forgot to color in a part of it. I probably should mention that I custom made all of the brushes that I use in everything here on Procreate. But kind of taught me is just finally why I understand a lot more about just, I guess, life in general. But basically, yes, it may hurt a lot in the moment, but eventually time moves on and you realize that it's just a natural part of life. Now, I'm not saying you should blindly sprint towards the end, but acknowledge that stuff happens. Anyways, I did go into Art of Melancholy with, frankly, I would say weirder than normal views, because where I go to college, I think there, at least in that particular class, almost everyone was white. Here I am, half Mexican, someone who celebrates Day of the Dead. And I just felt like I had a completely different perspective from a lot of people. Again, day one, my teacher was already said that I was already weird. First day of class, she's like, "Yeah, I also get that computer science majors will probably not do well." I raised my hand. I'm a computer science major, and then she immediately responds with, "Sorry, computer science majors who don't have weird hobbies like bookbinding." Granted, that was after I said, I literally learned bookbinding like the day before for fun. But pretty much she explained to us that we need what is called a commonplace book. Not really a composition notebook, but also not really just like a fancy book either. It's sort of like one of the precursors, I guess, to encyclopedias, except more for philosophical stuff than anything. I literally ended up hand making a book. I'm not sure where it is. It's probably buried somewhere in either storage or in my room. But I had fun making it. I think it's like 100 pages long. We only really needed like 30, 40. We only really... Let's see... 15 weeks times 2. We only really needed like, I think, 30-ish pages. I just figured I'd probably be keeping up more with it after I got out of the class. I frankly haven't. Apologies, Miss Teacher, if you ever somehow find this. But I felt like I was just saying some completely foreign stuff whenever I talked about concepts like Day of the Dead and Memento Mori. I'm not kidding when I say this. I literally walk around campus with a paper mache skull sitting in my pocket. Now, this was because I decided my freshman year to learn another fun little random nonsensical hobby with paper mache. Well, actually, it wasn't really paper mache. It was more so just recycling paper because I had a tendency to burn through a lot of it. And I kind of didn't really want it to go to waste. At one point in time, I had so much, like, ripped apart papers that I'd soaked in water for who knows how long. I figured, okay, I have a bunch of masking tape. I have next to no interest in continuing to try and make paper, although it was fun when I was doing it. But it was around like mid to late October, I decided to try making little calaveras out of paper and tinfoil and masking tape. My dad has one, my grandfather, rest in peace, I gave him his around Christmas, and then fortunately the end of my freshman year he passed. But I think my grandmother still has it. And then I made one for myself. Now this one I didn't do anything fancy with. This one I just had fun with. Well, I didn't really do anything fancy. It was just a goofy little hee hee ha ha. How can I make this look silly? Anyways, I come back to I couldn't come up with any way to paint it, so I just kept it plain. All of the other calaveras I made, I did decorate. I didn't really go in with a theme in mind, except for one of them, which is one that I made for my dad. It currently sits on his nightstand. I've seen it. I could probably go upstairs and grab it. But, I didn't have any themes in mind. I just decided to make a plain one and coat it in nail polish. I coat all of them in nail polish, largely because I just don't want them to get destroyed because of water. Is it a good idea to soak them in water? Probably not. Will they be fine if they say fall in a puddle and you immediately grab them? Yeah. I just wanted that little extra layer of protection. But I ended up taking this school to a game dev club, and they named it Albert. 3 years later, I'm taking it to one of my on-campus jobs. I'm talking to a girl who has since graduated. I'll call her, what's the name for her? I'll call her Clara. I jokingly, she graduated last semester. I go up to Clara at the end of year, at the Christmas end of year party. You know, I have a skull in my pocket. You get to guess its name. She threw out two additional names, Sebastian and Curtis. I said, you know what? Those are its new last names. So this school was first given a name by the Game Dev Club. The first name it was given was Albert. Albert has popped up in the Chapel community a few times, holding him because he keeps losing him. Anyway, this fool's name is now Albert Sebastian Curtis, and that is also currently the name of, the nickname of the Discord alt that I have that primarily existed because, of testing purposes on iPad when I do not have access to a laptop. Anyways, Albert Sebastian Curtis was a funky little guy. And I did not realize at the time that apparently there was even more to just what could be said about Albert's name. Because I'm going to work on a really annoying project with, basically I was building a compiler that was incredibly annoying to do, but also provided a lot of insight on how programming languages work. I introduced to the two guys I'm working with Albert, and offhandedly mentioned that Albert is like a rubber duck to me, except I introduced Albert by his new full name, Albert Sebastian Curtis. And one of the guys goes, so his name is Ask, and I had not even realized that. all I can say now is that, the idea was just so funny to me that I just rolled with it, and now I just have a skull named Ask sitting in my pocket 24/7. I still use Albert as a bit of a troubleshooting buddy from time to time. Probably not as often anymore, but it does help to have something to explain your thought process to, even if it does seem silly in the moment. Hey. Who knows, maybe for fun, one day I should just make a little asset for Albert and just put him on my head for no reason. Then again, I also did go around with a stuffed toad, with a little lizard thing on my head for a few days because I was bored. I don't know, college is just the time to be a complete weirdo and just everyone will roll with it. I probably should have figured out something to do with the background before I did this. Where on earth did... Okay, I found it. Never mind, I didn't even select the right thing. But yes, I went around with a roll in my pocket. No one ever questioned it, they just rolled with it. Well, actually, some did question it. I've had exactly one person in the entire school guess why I even have a skull in my pocket, and that was the same teacher who had to explain to another teacher why everyone was laughing at him. I still don't think I will ever live that one down because technically I had a part in just perpetuating the existence of this thing. I will say that Jerkin had technically existed for like a week when that entire incident went down, and now he has yet to reappear on whiteboards, although I think that's because I just do not draw him on whiteboards. Although, if the other people who were there for his creation were still attending, I imagine they probably would. Now, what do I do for colors? Oh. With a really saturated blue. Shut up, I don't... Testing it. Okay, maybe go a little more saturated. Okay, but as a consequence, lighter. Now less saturated, bit darker. Oh yeah, that still reads decently. Now, where's my other fun brush? Okay, not that one. And what each of these do. Where on earth is... Oh. And I mentioned I made glitch brushes for fun. What is this one? Oh, this is like another... Okay, I'm gonna... So, where's adjustments? There, that works. Simple enough background. Although I kind of do want that to add a little bit of gradient. I want like that, it's a little warmer and saturated towards the top. There we go. I could probably... does this still look good? I mean, it's also barely noticeable. Anyways, back to coloring. I'm going to replace this with a color from here. And then on top of that, I'm going to toss a color from here. Although I think I might go a bit more saturated and a little darker. Anyways, time to haphazardly paint on lights. I know. Alright, this is where things start taking a while, but that might have to be for another time, because it's also almost 6 o'clock here and I kind of want to start on making dinner soon. I'm making chicken nuggets again. I literally got chicken thighs yesterday, I diced them, and I currently have them running in the fridge. I actually did learn kind of like a slightly better way of making them. Basically where you have them brine in the wet batter, which is basically just whatever seasoning you prefer to season with. About half a cup of flour, and enough water to make that flour into a sort of a pancake-ish, I want to say, consistency. Pancake batter-ish consistency. Although the one thing I will say I will not be enjoying is just how cold it feels on my hand. But my voice is also really tired. I'm not sure if this was a great idea. I'll probably be doing this again tomorrow, except with Genshin, or at least playing Genshin.